Hi church family, I'm coming to you from home today because the Prime Minister this week has strongly urged that all those who don't need to work in the office but can work from home should. And so here I am doing my bit, as well as some of the other staff from our office. The rest we're in the process of transitioning at the moment so that they too can continue to provide the good quality service that they do from their home environment rather than the office building. Well, it's been another big week. And life as we know it has radically changed with church building closures, border closures, travel restrictions, business closures, grocery limits, limitations on social meetings in homes and so forth, and forcing us almost to have to meet via remote or electronic means and opportunities because of the limits we have with face-to-face contact. But I'm incredibly proud and impressed with how our conference, that's you, have adapted to all of this, and I just want to thank you so much. I know it's been a period of uncertainty, and it's life now looks very different to what it did 2 weeks ago, and yet you've just embraced it. You're going along with it. You're saying, well, it's not going to keep us down. We'll look for new ways of being able to meet and worship and pray with each other and bless one another and reach our communities, which is just fantastic. Thank you so much for hanging in there in this process and just making the most of it. I really am deeply impressed, especially with our pastoral team too, who have been at the forefront of all of this and trying to manage the change process through the churches and keep you informed and updated and work out alternative ways of doing ministry and providing the basic services and functions. And it's just been amazing. So thank you. Thank you for hanging in there. I hope we're sort of settling into what Pastor Levy calls the new normal for some time until the virus has passed, but it certainly has been a period of rapid change, and we're taking big strides and doing things we've never really done in the way we're doing them now. What was allowed and worked well last week is not allowed and working well this week, and so we continue to adapt because we recognise that the church is us. It's not a building, and while it's a real inconvenience not to have our building, we can still find creative ways of being able to continue with church and reaching out and encouraging one another and reaching our community as well. Of course, it doesn't come without its teething issues, and one of those for some folk has been, I've got my tithes and offerings here and there's no offering bag anymore, so what do I do with it? And we've tried to provide electronic methods for people to be able to be generous and make their contributions, but not everybody's on the internet, not everybody's tech savvy and can do that. And so we just want to say to you, if you've got finances there that you want to give to the Lord, then please ring your pastor and your treasurer, and they'll arrange to have those picked up. And because we don't want to deny you the opportunity and the blessing that comes with giving. Of course, that could all change in another few days if we get to lockdown stage, but at the moment, limited travel is still permitted, and while we can make the most of it, we shall. One of the sad things that's come out of this week is that Big Camp has been cancelled, and that decision was made by the Executive Committee, regrettably, because so many people love and enjoy our Big Camp, and indeed they've been saving for it. Many had already booked in. And so it's a tragedy to have to cancel it. And we're sorry that that's happened, but folks, we have no choice. Most of what we want to do at Big Camp is illegal currently. We're not allowed, we're forbidden by the government to do it. And there's just no way around it, and it would be incredibly irresponsible if we even tried to hold something with a mass gathering. So yeah, really sorry that that's had to happen, and we know it's going to impact you. But we look forward to better times ahead where we can once again enjoy gathering together. The other decision that was made by the Executive Committee was to postpone our constituency meeting, our conference session, which was going to be in mid-August. That's now been pushed back. We're just looking for another date late in the year because that constitutionally still has to be held this year, but it's just not safe to do it in the middle of August. Well, it's an unsettling time. Many people are losing their jobs and life is getting difficult. And for some of you, maybe many of you, it could be causing quite a degree of distress. I recognise that and my heart goes out to you. I want to just suggest that all of that distress and burden that you're carrying, I want to suggest that you give those to God. Let him carry them. In 1 Peter 5 and verse 7, we're told to cast all our anxiety on him because he cares for us. He's got broad shoulders. He can take it. But it's not always helpful to dump that on family members who we're now living in very close proximity with for much of the hours of every day. And it can create, a bit of unhappiness in home environments. So if you're feeling it, hand it to God. Talk to him about it. Call out to him. Let him carry your burdens and your distresses. The Apostle Paul, for much of his ministry, not all of it, but for certainly significant portions, was locked in a prison cell or under home lockdown, house arrest if you like. And yet I'm just continually impressed at how he made the most of his situation to still further the work of the church. In fact, without those periods of incarceration, we wouldn't have had most of the New Testament. And so we're incredibly blessed by the fact that Paul was locked down and was able to produce some of those incredible letters. But I just want to remind you of what he wrote to the Philippian church in chapter 4 and verse 11, where he said, I have learned to be content, whatever the circumstances. Well, folks, if ever we need to learn to be content in crazy circumstances, it's now. How does it happen? By giving all of our cares and anxieties to God and letting him fill us with his peace and his calmness. I invite you to do that over the coming days, because that is going to be what will make the difference in getting us through in a way that is peaceful, in a way that it honours God, and in a way that blesses our families. And so, folks, I just want to wish you all the best until I see you next, and ask that you take care, and I wish you God's blessing.